What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to another video, another day, another dollar with your boy. We're going to be breaking down futures contract. We're going to be looking at the ES and the NASDAQ. A lot happened today, per usual, as FOMC never really disappoints. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. Today, it did not disappoint. Honestly, the whole day was kind of a lull for the most part until FOMC. There really wasn't much of a range, not much to trade. We ended up opening with a gap today above previous day's high, which put us back into a daily balance. And then prior to the FOMC, you started to see a little bit of volatility kick in. And then we went from having, basically for ES anyway, most of the day's range above the previous day's high. And we were just chopping around up here. Got a pretty wide point of control to from everything being somewhat in buyers' favors to an extent. Obviously, all that gets thrown out the window once FOMC kind of steps into the building and Papa Jerome Powell kind of speaks. But all that to end up with an outside day down, right? So I don't think I'm going to say the daily's in balance. I think I'm just going to say the daily is still down. Even though we took out the previous day's high, I think all of that was just a bunch of BS. And if tomorrow we miraculously take back this entire day and take out today's high, then I will say we are in a much larger balance on the daily. But for now, I'm going to continue to say the daily is down, especially after this move we had to the downside and ending up with an outside day down. Very bearish for the most part. Same thing in NQ. We opened up with a gap in NASDAQ, not with a very large gap, but we opened up with a gap in NASDAQ and then ended up just kind of chopping around. Ended up with another wide point of control inside of the previous day's range for NASDAQ. Chopped around, and then obviously as Papa Jerome Powell began to speak, we kind of chopped around, but extended the range a little bit, and then eventually late in the evening began to take out the previous day's low and went trend to the downside. So both ES and NASDAQ go out with a trend day down, a double distribution day. So, all this up here being the upper distribution, and then all of M's range being the lower distribution. So tomorrow should hopefully bring some excitement to the table. I didn't take a single trade today, just solely based off the pure chop that we were having early on in the day. I mean, it was a very choppy session. Not a lot for me to trade. Range was very small for both NASDAQ and ES. So I was like, there's nothing here for me. There's no reason for me to be involved prior to 2 o'clock. And then even afterwards, I wasn't too sure or certain as to what the market wanted to do. So I just stayed out of it. Now tomorrow, hopefully we'll get involved a little bit more. Hopefully we can take some trades, put some money in the bank. But today we didn't lose anything, so that is a plus. Any day you can go home, break even, flat, or unchanged, or even with a little bit of change in your pocket. Those are positive days. Didn't let my FOMO get to me, right? And FOMO, fear of missing out, is definitely what happened to a lot of these traders. Guaranteed it. There was probably a lot of people that were panic buying, panic selling, all the above in the last 3 time frames. With Curly, Larry, and Mo, the 3 Stooges, the last 3 time frames of the day, caused a lot of headaches, especially after K period pushed up, got to the point of control again. Guarantee you, above in ES, above 98 people, and especially once we got up to the 4,500 level, people were like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna buy this, and we're gonna take out the day's high, and then we're gonna go trend up." And anybody that thought that got absolutely smoked and punched in the face. And this market just liquidated pretty heavily to the downside. So with that being said, let's look at what kind of destinations we hit. Let's bring up our destinations, review kind of what we plan on doing for tomorrow. We'll mark the destinations for today. We'll look at the SPY and the triple Qs charts, because like I said, those are going to be more accurate than the futures contract because of the rollover and everything. Things tend to be a little bit more wonky looking on there, and things are just kind of more clear on the SPY and the Qs. Both are correlated, just prices are different. All right, so like I said, let's look at ES first. ES SPY. So opened up above previous day's high with a gap, held it for the most part for the most of the morning, finally filled it in B period, right? So all this range right here, let's just measure what the range was prior to the FOMC. Prior to that, it was a 13-point range, so a very small range, right? You're nickel and diming if you're trading in this range. Very choppy session, above the previous day's high. And then, like I said, once we got into it and began to push down lower, and then after that retest of 4,500 and liquidated, we got the previous day's low of day. And then your next downside destination was that afternoon pullback low at 44.3775. Now, technically, we hit that on our September contract destination. I believe is a little bit higher. So the September contract did get that afternoon pullback low, and SPY also got that afternoon pullback low. But for the December contract, this is what I mean when things get a little wonky by destination and price wise. But the December contract did not quite get to the 44.3775. So the next downside destination after that is the low of day from 825 at 44.1225. Below that, 43.9775. If we get below that, I got nothing because I didn't go back that far in the back adjusting. So yeah, any further than 43.9775, this market could be in some serious trouble on the downside. So keep that in mind. So like I said, we go out with a double distribution day. This whole range right here that I'm about to mark is the upper distribution. If it will, hello. All right. So this whole range right here is going to be the upper distribution, and then the lower distribution is going to be all of M's range, right? So from there to there. So upper distribution, lower distribution. Tomorrow, we are going to want sellers want to open up in the lower distribution or below it and then continue to push down lower. Buyers want to open up in the lower distribution and get into the upper distribution and hold into the upper distribution, right? And potentially take out previous day's high. So keep that in mind. Buyers want to be in this area. Sellers want to open here and below. Buyers want to open up here and above and get into this range. If we open up inside of this upper distribution, I do expect a whole lot of chop tomorrow. So if we open up anywhere within the day's range tomorrow, I completely expect some chop until we take out a low or a high. So let's go ahead and mark the destinations. We have no, I guess, was it A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H? How far was it? I'm not going to... We're going to mark 45.03 because that seemed to be in a pretty significant... we'll mark that as an afternoon rally high. So we have today's high of day. Mark that with me. 507.50 is today's high of day. 9:20. Ooh. New caps. After this, I'm going to go for a nice little 3-mile run. All right, 9:20.23. High of day. We're going to mark this 45.03 because 1, 2, 3 time frames pushed up to it, and we could not get back above the open. We could not get above that 45.03.50 level, or 45.03 level, excuse me. So that might be an area of interest later on in the trading month, year, however you want to look at it. So that could be a point of interest at some point in time. So afternoon rally high. Okay. Then we go all the way down. We have a set of single prints that fill at 44.77. This is where single prints will fill. Boom, boom, boom. And if you did trade today prior to the FOMC, and you made some money, good job. If you were flat going into the FOMC, good job. If you traded while he was speaking, shame on you, because honestly, that was kind of fear of missing out. And I guarantee you, I've been doing this years. made money. Okay, if you've been doing it years at a time and you know what you're risking, how the risk manage, and you're confident in your trade setup, then yeah, I got no issue with that, right? If you clearly know what you're doing. But if you're somebody that's newer in this market, you should definitely not be trading while he's speaking, at the very least. If there's any trade I would have been looking for, it was in the last time frame of the day, and that was on the push up. Look for a short, because at the time, market generated information was telling us sellers are in control. And clearly on that push up to 70 or 60, right, your out is above 77. So that push up to 70, you're risking 7 points. You're looking to come down and take out the previous day's low at 62. 7 points to gain, what is that? 10. You did well. So good risk reward trade there. And then you have the price probe. Price probe here at 64.50. So if you did trade today, just let me know where you traded, how you traded. This is a price probe. This is where the market spiked from. You have price probe there. And then you have today's low of day here at 46. So if you're a seller, right, you want to open up below 44.64.50 and then take out the day's low. Hopefully tomorrow we don't open up with a large gap to the downside, because that tends to take the air out of the market, just kind of slows us down, doesn't really give us any confidence one way or the other. So there you guys have it. There's your destinations. Downside, I gave you all those. Upside, 44.64.50. Single print start 44.71.75. They fill at 44.77. Above that, ooh, I forgot to mark this Y point of control here, ladies and gentlemen. This is why we review it, so we can know. Y point of control here at 44.98.75. 75. This was a 10 wide point of control. 10 out of 13 time frames traded back and forth through this area. 10 wide point of control. So that is, what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yep. So 10 shot time frames traded back and forth between that 44.98.75 level. So if we get above 44.77, there's a vacuum and a literal magnet to 44.98.75 as a 10 wide point of control. High volume area, right? Keep an eye on that. So we might just push up to that and then back off pretty aggressively, or we might just chop around there. So NASDAQ, let's look at it. Same thing. Wide point of control, took out the previous day's high, got up to that 9 wide point of control from the previous, from early on in the week, right? So for Monday, we had that 9 wide point of control. We got up to it and touched it and backed off, right? So same concept could happen for today's 9 or 10 wide point of control, as we could push up, touch it, and then roll over, right? So destinations are a little bit further and wider in the NASDAQ. We'll go ahead and mark all those. Got that 15,175 destination. Also, right down to that high volume node that I was talking about in yesterday's video. We pushed right down to it, and look at where we did all the volume today. Where the previous high volume node was at, all the volume today was right in that same freaking range, right? Same range is where that high volume node was. So that's why I'm keeping an eye on those high volume nodes. We'll start with the day's low day. 15.47 or 15.147.50 is today's low day. We have a price probe here at 23.25. Price probe. So sellers want to open up below 23.25. Okay. We have single prints that start at 58.50. I've messed that up. 58.50. This keyboard is too small. Single prints that start there. Single prints that fill at 86, 286, 15, 286 is where the single prints fill. Too many twos there. Too many dashes. Then we have our 10 wide point of control, and make sure 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yep, 10 wide point of control. I guess you could do 11. No, 10 wide. 10 wide point of control here at 75. And we're not going to say NQ has an afternoon rally high. There's no afternoon rally high in NQ. No afternoon rally high in the NASDAQ. Just this 10 wide point of control and then the high of day. And then you have today's high of day at 15, 435, 25. All right, so sellers want to open up below 15,223.25, anywhere below 15,200. Essentially is where you want to open up below and then push down lower. Your next downside destination isn't until 14,940 is the next downside destination for the NASDAQ. So coming out of balance, which we started doing, and today we continue that one-time framing down. Like I said, for ES and NASDAQ, I'm going to continue to say that the NASDAQ and the ES are down until we take out today's high. If we take out today's high, we will be in a balance. Which I don't expect to happen right away. So downside destination, there you have it, 14,940. Upside, price probe, 15,223.25. You get above that, you should fill the single prints at 15,286. Above that, you have a magnet to 15,375. Above that, 15,435. Then you have the high of day, 15,461. Let's go ahead and look at our larger time frames real quick. ES monthly balance, still nothing's changed in the ES monthly. That 43.50 level will be an area of interest. Keep that in mind. Next downside destination as far as daily time frames go is at 44.34.25. Okay. We need to be looking at SPY. Well, we'll start with the Qs. And we'll look at the weekly. So here's the weekly. Okay. Here's our weekly time frame, our weekly balance. Here's our daily time frame. Our daily time frame is approaching that weekly balance low for the triple Qs at 364.25. Okay. We take that out tomorrow, the weekly will be one time framing down. Okay. If we take that out tomorrow, the weekly will be one time framing down. If we hold above 364.25, then this market should remain in balance from a weekly standpoint. So here's the weekly, right? We take that out, then our weekly is down. Now, some people may already have the weekly down by taking out that low of 369.15, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with saying that the weekly's down already. But if we get below 364.25, obviously that will be more confirmation for me. And it will, we will all be down on our weekly time frame. Now let's look at what our daily is looking like here. Daily, like I said, daily is firmly down for me. I'm not going to say that the daily's balanced just because we took out the previous day's low. If you want to say that it's a balance, you go right on ahead. But for me, I'm saying we're still one time framing down today, especially with that outside day down scenario. We did not get above the 20. We did not get above that previous high of 371.79. So until we do such, market is down on the daily, and we are continuing to set lower highs and lower lows. Look at this. Something kind of point out here. Starting like to have a little bit of another, excuse me, not that high. Another series here of lower highs, lower lows setting up. All right, this little channel of swing lows and swing highs. All right. So boom, boom, boom. All right. It's kind of what we're looking at. So Q's down on the daily, setting up lower highs, lower lows. If you've made it this far, please leave a like down below because I'm all over the place. SPY. Okay, don't type. That's cool. Hello. SPY. Let's look at our daily. Same concept. Okay, never mind. That is not the SPY. SPY V for some freaking weird reason. Okay, there we go. Daily. Breaking out of balance. Downside, right? 2 days in a row. One time framing down. Outside day down. Volume above average. Continues to push down lower. Should go and visit this next daily low here for the SPY at 435. Weekly. Weekly in SPY is one time framing down. Okay. We took out that weekly balance low of 39.97, 439.97. We took that weekly balance low out in the SPY. So your next destination for the weekly time frame for SPY is going to be 435. Okay. So weekly one time framing down for SPY and for ES. Daily one time framing down for SPY and ES. Qs one time framing down the daily, still in balance on the weekly. So same thing applies to the NASDAQ. Daily is one time framing down, and the weekly is still in balance. So with all that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you all have a wonderful day. We'll catch you guys in tomorrow's session where hopefully it's a little bit more eventful on the money side. Wear your hard hats. We'll see you in the next one. See you.